If you want to learn any programming language, either Java or some other language, we need to first learn about variables, what are the data types, how to use operators, what are the arrays concepts. So step by step process we need to learn. So today here I'm going to show you now how to use these variables, data types and operators. Let us see about the variables. What is variable in Java? Variables are basically containers which can hold the values, which can hold the values. So what is this? So in mathematics, what we will do is, if we want to have a value, we will create a variable, right? So for example, let's say here, let's say x is equal to 10. So what does it mean in mathematics? So 10 is a constant value, x is a variable. X is a variable, so which can hold some value. It's a container. So as soon as I say x is equal to 10, in the memory it will create a location. The value will be stored here. That location will refer with a variable called as a x. So a variable is a container which can hold a certain value. Okay, variable is a container which can hold certain value. But what kind of value it can hold, that depends on data type of the variable. So Java, we have certain data types. So data types in Java. So we have few number of data types in Java. So suppose, let's say, if I say x is a int is a data type in Java, integer. So then I can store only integer numbers without decimals. Okay. Suppose if I say a variable as float, okay, and I can store decimal numbers into this particular variable, or we can say double is also can store decimal numbers, but we can store a bigger number. And suppose if I say a variable as a char, as a data type, I can store a single characters. So let's say a y. Characters always include in the single quotations. Okay, we can store some character inside this variable. So what kind of data we are going to store in this variable will be decided by the data type of Java. Okay. Now let us discuss about what is a variable. Variable is a container which can hold that value. As soon as I define this variable, it will create a location, and this value will be stored in this location and will be referred by this variable name. This is a simple variable. Now let us discuss about data types in Java. So in Java, we have mainly few data types. Let me just list out here. Data types in Java. So why the data types are required? If you want to store a certain value inside a variable, we must specify a data type. So without data type, I cannot store any value, because how we will know what kind of variable, what kind of value we have to store here in Java? So Java doesn't know that. So until unless we specify the data type of the variable. Fine. So here in Java, if you want to define the variable, so before discussing the data types, let me just show you how to create the variables. So in Java, if you want to create a variable, first we need to just say data type and then variable name and then some value. Okay. And we can do multiple ways. We can just say, I haven't assigned any value here. I just declared a variable. This is called as a declaration. This is called as a declaration of variable. This is just a comment I'm using. Okay, in Java this slash is representing the comment. So int x is nothing but int is a data type. Int is a data type, x is a variable. Suppose I want to assign some value to this variable. So how we can do this is, simply I can say x is equal to some 100. So in Java, every line is end with the semicolon. So I'm just saying a semicolon here, except this class and methods. Class and methods will not end with semicolon, and rest of the statement we have to end with the semicolon. So here, the first step is called as a declaration. I have declared a variable of type integer. So when I say integer type, I can store numbers inside that variable. So here, this is called as initialization. This is called as initialization because I have assigned some value to that. And we can also club these two statements. We can still write two statements. One is for declaration, the other is for initialization. I can also combine these two statements. How we can combine this? Let's say int x equal to 10. So directly I can assign the value. Okay, so this is how we need to define the variables in Java, right? So let's talk about the data types. I'm going to use this variable later. So now let us discuss about data types in Java. So in Java, there are two types of data types. One is primitive data types, and the second one is derived data types. Primitive data types and derived data types. So what are all the basic types like integer, float, double, character, boolean? So these are all comes under the primitive data types. What is data types? Data type will decide what kind of value we are going to store in a variable. Okay. So under primitive data types, we have few data types like int, and we can also use float or double. But most of the times we'll use this double, char, and then boolean. So these are all basic data types, and along with this we have also have like a short, and we have a float. Okay, so we have etc. So many depths we have, but majorly we use int, double, char, and boolean, because short is also kind of integer type. So what is the difference here? If I say int, I can store a small number. Sorry, if I say short, I can store a small number, one or two digits of number. If I say int, it can accept more number of digits. The length, a bigger number I can store. That's a very small difference. Similarly, if I say a variable as a float, I can store on a small decimal number. And if I say variable as a double, I can store a larger decimal number. And we have a char type and we have a boolean type. Okay, these are all comes under the primitive data types. Now we have also derived data types. Means these are all objects in Java. Okay, we'll talk about objects and all later. For now, just remember, array is a derived data type. Array list is a derived data type. String is a derived data type. Okay, hash map. So this is also a kind of derived data type. And there are so many things like this. It all comes under the derived data types. And what is the difference between this one and this one? Derived data types will act as a data type, and also these are the predefined classes in Java. Okay, just like we have created one class, right? Similarly, Java itself is having its own classes. These classes are comes under that particular part. So these are called derived data types in Java. So we are going to discuss this derived data type in the coming sessions. But for now, just focus on primitive data types. How we can use this primitive data types. Okay. Now let's discuss. I'll just give you a small program here. How to use these data types. Let me just create a new program here. I'm just removing the test. So now I'm going to create one more program. Okay, so what I can do is let's keep this default package as it is. I have already created my package, right? So I will just rename this as day 1. Okay, and I think this is day 2, right? So day 2 I have given. So on every day I will create a new package. So day 2, I just renamed this package. Okay, just continue. So I have just renamed my package day 2. So every day I will create a new package like day 3, day 4, and whatever programs I'm going to do will be part of that particular packages. So here I have test.java. So I already created this class, right? So let me remove this, and I'll just create another class. I'll name this as data types. Data types. Now let's take a main method. Click on finish. Fine. So now here I'm going to define a few variables with different data types. Let's say, so first I will create int, suppose a is equal to 10, some number. So int means is a numeric value. It accepts the numeric value. And I'll say double, so d is a variable name. And here I'll just say a decimal number. Let's say some different number, 20.5. It accepts the decimal numbers. And when I say char, let's say variable is C, and I can initialize a characters, or call the characters always we need to include in the single quotations. So here I'll just say some character, something called some h, some character. Line is end with the semicolon. Now I will create one more variable called as a boolean. Let's say a variable called b, and in the boolean variable I can store only either true or false. So boolean variable can accept either true or false. Only two values I can store. So I can store either true here or I can store false here. But we should not include the double quotes. If we include these double quotes, that will be treated as a string. Okay, so we should not include. And along with this, I'm also going to use this string type, because this is also we need to use every day. Very familiar. So let's create another variable for string type. String. Let's create a variable called yes is equal to strings. Always we need to put in the double quotes. Let's say I'll say welcome. So now you can see the difference between these primitive types and this derived type. So all the primitive type data types all comes under the different color, and string is not comes in any other color, right? So string is comes under the derived type. It is basically inbuilt class in Java, and which is also we can use as a data type. So when I say a variable as a string type, we can store a string value inside it. So string is nothing but a collection of characters. A string is nothing but a collection of characters. Should be included in the double quotes. So whenever you want to assign a character, should include in the single characters, single quotations. And if you want to assign a string, you have to include in the double quotations. So now I have defined a few variables and their values. Now I want to print these values in my console window. Okay, so how we can do this? So let me write a statement: system dot out dot println. So here just I'll give a variable name called a. Now what it will do is this statement will print the value of a. So whatever value we have stored in this variable, that will be printed in the console window. Now let's run this. Run as Java application. Now you can see the value of a is 10 is printed. And similarly, I can also print other variables, other values of those variables a, b, c, and b. And also we have string, that is yes. Okay. Now we'll get values of those variables in our console window. Now let's run this. You will get all the values which are present inside this variables. Okay, so this is how we need to define these variables. And here I have followed the notation like a declaration and initialization. Both I have done in the single statement itself. And then I have printed the values which are there inside these variables. Okay, so this is about variables, how to use these variables. And now I'll talk about variables and also data types I have shown you, right? So int, double, char, and boolean. So these are all called data types in Java. Now let us discuss about derived data types. I will cover in the coming sessions. They are a little bit complex. And then we'll see about data types in Java. So what are the data types we have in Java? Sorry, operators. So what is an operator? First we need to discuss about what is operator. Operator will perform certain action between two operands. So for example here, I'll just say 10 plus 20. So this is called as an expression. So plus is a symbol. What the plus will do here? It will add the two numbers. Plus and 10 and 20 will be added by plus. So this is called as an operator. So when I say operator, operator is a symbol which will perform certain operation between two operands. Okay, so operator is a symbol which will perform a certain operation between two operands. So in Java, we have different kinds of operators. So we have arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, increment or decrement operators, and assignment operators. Let's discuss them. So I will just list out a few operators here. So arithmetic operators are plus minus star is representing the multiplication, slash and modulo division. So one is written the quotient value, the other one is written the remainder. So these are the comes under the arithmetic operators which we can use it to perform mathematical operations. Now we have relational operators or called as a comparison operators. So under this we have a double equal to, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal. So these are the comes under the relational operators. So by which we can compare two operands whether they are equal or not, or which one is larger, which one is smaller, or if you want to verify them we can go and use these relational operators. And then logical operators can be used to check a logical conditions. I'll just talk about this more. And then we have increment and decrement operator which are very specific to Java. And assignment operators equal to will assign some value to the variable. So these are the list of operators we have: arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, increment or decrement operators, and assignment operators. Now let us see one by one how to use these operators in Java. So what I can do is I will just create one more class to demonstrate these operators. So as I said, operator is a symbol which will perform an action on operand. So let's see here. Let's need to understand a few terminologies. Okay, so here when I say int a is equal to 10, I'll create one more variable int b is equal to, let's say, 20. So when I say a plus b, I'll store that into a variable called as C, as C is also an integer variable. So now if you observe this, A is a variable. A is a variable here. And 10 is a value. And here B is a variable and 20 is a value. Right? So in this expression, A, B are called operands. Operands. So as soon as I have used this operator, these variables are becomes the operand. So operator is a symbol which will perform certain operation between two operands, two or more operands. Sometimes I can also have some other variable, right? So more than two operands will be required. So operator is a symbol which will perform certain action between two operands. So here A and B are called as operands. Plus is called as an operator. Plus is called as a operator. Okay, now let us see how we can use these operators in Java. So to do that, I will create a new program. Right click, new class. I'll name it as a data types. Sorry, operators. The first letter should be uppercase letters. Okay, operators. Let's take a main method and then finish it. Okay, now it creates a new class operators and it is also included the main method. So here we need to write our Java code. So now I'm going to show you how to use these operators. Okay, so let's create, if you want to do these operators, if you want to use this operator, at least we need to have few variables and their values, right? So let's create a two variables now. Int, let's say a is equal to 10, int b is equal to 20. So I have just created two variables and including their values. So now I'm going to show you how to use these arithmetic operators. So what is the first category? Arithmetic operators. Okay, so arithmetic operators. So this is just a comment. Okay, at the runtime, Java will ignore this statement. So how to use this comment? Slash slash. So here I'm going to show you how to use this arithmetic operators. Suppose I want to add these a plus b. I want to add these two numbers. Let's say a plus b. It will add two numbers. Now I want to print the output of a plus b. So if you want to print an output, again I'll use system.out.println and within the bracket just specify the a plus b. So this will give you the output of 10 plus 20. So here the statement will end with the semicolon. So A contains 10, B contains 20, it will return the 30 as an output. So when I run this, it will gives you 30 as an output. Okay, suppose I want to know what kind of output it is. then I can just write some message here in the double quotes. Sum of A and B. Sum of A and B is, and just semicolon, and here uh, this is a string. Okay, so whatever we provided here, that will be printed as my console window, and here I'm going to append this result to this particular string. Okay, this is a kind of concatenation. So what we need to do is we need to use a plus operator. So plus is used as a two different ways. One is we can perform arithmetic operations, and the other way of usage of plus is it will also concatenate the values. So this one and this one. So suppose if I use plus like this in between two numbers, let's say a and b are integers. So if I say a plus b, it will perform addition. Okay, let's say I have a string value. So suppose I have a string values, let's say x and y. These are the strings. Now if I say x plus y, what this will give you is it will append. Suppose x contains something called welcome, and y contains something called as selenium. Okay, these two are different strings. When I say x plus y between the strings, it will just concatenate these two strings. So it will give you welcome space and selenium. So it will concatenate both the strings. Okay, plus will act as a two different ways. Now go here. So sum of a and b. This is a string, complete string within the double quotes. Now I'm concatenating this with our result a plus b. So let's run this. What it will give you? What it is giving? So it is concatenated everything. So this is a string still here. Then 10 is concatenated and 20 is also concatenated. But this is not our expected output, right? So we should get 30. So what we need to do is, if you are trying to use both two times a plus operator, you need to just use brackets here. So now what happens is, it will just calculate a plus b first, and then it will append this result to this particular string. Now let's run this code. It will give you now exact result. Sum of a and b is 30, because we are using both here plus operator. First we need to calculate this and then append this same thing to the existing string. So here we need to use plus operator like this. This just perform the arithmetic operation. And similarly we can also do subtraction, multiplication, addition and everything. So here difference of a and b. If I do b minus a, that will give you 10. So here I'll just say b minus a. The brackets I have put. B minus a will give you the result, and it will append it to this particular string. Similarly, a star b will multiplication will do, and a slash b will return a quotient, that is 2, and a percentile b will return the remainder, that is 0. Okay, these are all basic, very basic arithmetic operations. Now let's run this code. Now you can see here, sum of a and b is 30, difference of a and b is 10, multiplication is 200, 10 into 20, and division of a and b, it gives just reminder. If I say divided 20 with the 10, the reminders will give you 0, right? And the quotient value is 10. So this is the value we will get. So these are the basic arithmetic operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulo division. Okay, so for this we have 5 different symbols. These are all called arithmetic operators. You can just play with them later. Now I'm going to show you other operators. Next one is relational operators. So these are very important stuff. So let me just go through this. Relational operators are also called as a comparison operators. Relational operators are also called as a comparison operators. So relational operators always returns a Boolean value. Remember this. Always returns a Boolean value. So why it is returns Boolean value? Let us see. I have A and B here. A value and B value. I want to compare whether these are equal or not. So for example, when I say here system dot out dot println, I'll say A double equal to B. So here there is a difference between equal to and double equal to. So equal to is an assignment operator. It will assign some value to this variable. And double equal to is a comparison operator. It will compare a b value with a. If both are equals, it returns true. If both are not equals, it returns false. Okay, so here it is basically a comparing it. So equal to is a comparison operator or relational operator. So what this will return now? As per our expectation, it returns false because a and b are not equal values. Now let's run this. It returns false. Okay, suppose I make a value also 20. Now this should return true. Okay, so this is a relational operator. Especially we use these operators while doing the certain conditions. Okay, so now let's change this value again, be back to 10. So similarly, I will also use other operators. Let's say a greater than b, and then a less than b, and then I'll say a greater than or equal to b, and then a less than or equal to b, and then a not equal to b, a not equal to b. Okay, so these are the operators I have used. So now let's see what we will get as an output. So every operator will return a boolean value, either true or false. Now let us see. A is 10, B is 20. So based on these values, we can just compare these operators. Let's see. This one returns false because both are not equal. A greater than B. So greater than operator will perform whether A is greater than B or not. It will verify. If A greater than B, if A is greater than B, it will return true. If A is not greater than B, it returns false. So as per our values, A is not greater than B, right? So this will return false. This will also return false. Now A less than B. So A is 10, B is 20. So 10 less than 20 condition is true. So 10 is lesser than 20. So this will returns true. Now the third condition. So A greater than or equal to B. So what is the difference between greater than and greater than or equal to? Here it will verify two conditions. It will return true if A greater than B. Even if it is not greater than, at least it should be equal. It should be equal. Either A greater than B or A equal to B. If both the conditions, any one of these conditions are true, then finally it will return true. So for example here, A is 10, B is 20, right? So when I run this code, so this is our fourth entry, right? So let's say fourth entry is false. It is written false. Why it is written false? Because A is not greater than B and also A is not equal to B. Both conditions are false. So it returns false here. So for example, I'll say A becomes 30 now. So in this case, 30 greater than or equal to B. Condition is true. So equal to is not, but it is greater than, right? So now if I run this, it will give you true. Suppose this time I give A is also 20. Now here A is not greater than B, but still A is equal to B. The condition is true. So this time it will also returns a true. Okay, so this is the one. So this is how we need to work with greater than or equal to operator. So it will verify two conditions and is again similar to A less than B. So A is less than or equal to. Either one of the conditions should become true. Now A is 10, B is 20. So it returns true. And A not equal to B. So A is 10, B is 20. So A not equal to B we are saying. So this will returns true because both are not equal. Now let's run this. You will get exact values here from here. False, false, true, false, false, true, then false, true, true. So false, true, true. So always the relational operators are returns either true or false. That means a boolean value will be returned. So normally we use these statements in conditional statements, if else condition. If you want to verify something, if you want to do certain validations, we are going to use these statements. Next, let's discuss about logical operators. Logical operators. So these logical operators will compare if you have only two operands. Suppose we have only, this is the one expression, this is another expression. We have two operands, we can just go and check the relational operators, fine. But if you have more expressions like this, then we need to go and use logical operators. So if you want to verify certain condition relation between more expressions, then we need to go for logical operators. So these logical operators will work between two Boolean values. Remember this. This logical operator works between two two Boolean values. Boolean values. So two variables should require, and those two variables either true or false. So let me show you how these AND or NOT operators works. Okay, let me just take a small Excel file. Let me write it here. So let's say I have a variable called X. Okay, so let me just maximize the font. Okay, so I have a variable called X and Y. So I'll say X and Y, X or Y and not X, and or not. So these are the logical operators we have. So let me just take this. So X is a variable, Y is a variable. X and Y, what this will return? X or Y, not X. So let's say X contains a variable called as a true. So as I said, and or not operator works between two Boolean values. So X is a true, Y is also true. Now what could be this AND operator? So let's say different combinations. True, true, and this is true. Let's say this is false, and this is false, and this is true. This is false, and this is again false. So now I have covered all the combinations, right? Now based on these combinations, we'll see what we will get here. So even AND or operators also return either true or false Boolean value. But on what basis it will return? Let's see. So AND operator will returns true if X and Y are true. Both should be true, and then only final value will be the true. And rest of the cases it will return false. Okay. So here I'll just say true here. So because X is true, Y is true, so that it returns true. And rest of the cases, one of them is false, the final value will be the false. Final value will be the false. And this is also false, returns false. This is also return false. This is the behavior of AND operators. AND means it will compare two expressions, so two Boolean values, and finally it will return the output. If both are true, then only the final value will be the true, and rest of the cases it is false. Similarly, OR operator. So OR operator will returns true even one of them is true. At least one value should be true, and then it will returns true. So for example, in the first combination, true is there, so it returns true. In the second combination, true is present, so it is again returns true. In third combination, again true present, so it also returns true. And the fourth combination, we don't have any true here. Both the values are not true. So finally, it will return false here. So this is a behavior of OR operator. OR means either X or Y. Either one of them should be true. Then only it will return true. AND means X and Y. Both should be true. Then only it will return true. The rest of the cases it will return false. Now OR is a negation. Not X is a negation. Not is a negation. So suppose X value is true. Not X obviously becomes a false. And X value is a false. And not X value becomes a true. Okay, so this is a completely opposite. So let's copy this here. These are all logical operators. Okay, you guys can see this later. Now I'll just demonstrate this here. I'll just finish it up another 5 minutes. So how to use this logical operator? So let's create two variables here. Boolean, let's say x is equal to, I'll make it as a true, and I'll get one more variable boolean y is equal to false. This is your false. Fine. So now I'll just create a few statements here. See, system.out.println x and y. So x and operator I have used. And operator means both should be true. Then only it will return true. In all other cases, it will return false. Now in this case, x is true, y is false. So what this will should true? What should it returns? False. And x or y, or means one of them should be true. So here x is true, so that it is completely written as a true. So not x means a negation. If x is true, not x will be false. Suppose if I say not y, let's say not y, so y is false, so this should be true. This is completely opposite. Okay, so again, these also we can use as with the conditional statements. In the coming sessions, I'm going to use this very frequently. Fine, so let's run this code now. So I'll just differentiate system.out.println. These are logical operators. I'll just write some divider here because I can separate them. Okay, the same thing I will write here. These are all relational operator. Relational operators. And here these are all arithmetic operators. Just a printing purpose I'm writing here. Okay, arithmetic operators. So let's run this code. Okay, now you can see here. These are the values of outputs of arithmetic operators. These are relational operators. Now these are the logical operators. Now let's verify this. False, true, false, true. Okay, same thing we are expecting here. False, true, false, true. Okay, so these are all called Java operators. We have a last operator, increment or decrement operator. These are very simple one. So normally when you increment or decrement a value, we will do like this. Let me just show you. So if you have a variable called, let's say a is equal to 10. So here already I defined this variable above, right? So I can just reassign the value here, or else we can use the same value. So a is equal to 10, right? So I want to increment the value of a by 1. So how we will write the statement normally? A is equal to a plus 1. This is a normal expression we'll write. So what this will do is, a value is 10, 10 plus 1, 11. So the 11 is a new value which will be assigned to the a. Now here if I print the value of a, system.out.println, if I say value of a, if I print, that gives you 11. So 11. So this is how we can increment a value. Same thing we can also do by using plus plus operator. That is a Java operator, increment operator. Now we can say a plus plus. So when I say a plus plus, this is exactly the same as a equal to a plus 1. Okay. Now let's print it. Okay. Now again it gives the same. Okay. So this will also give the same. So either we can go for this expression, or we can also use shortcut of a plus plus means it will increment by 1 always. And similarly, we have a decrement operator. Suppose let us say again b is equal to 20. Now I want to decrement by 1. So how we will write the statement? B is equal to b minus 1. Now if I want to print this value, I can say system.out.println. I'll just say b. Now when I run this, this will give you 19 as an output. Now the same expression I can write by using minus minus operator. Let's say b minus minus. Minus minus. So it will decrease the value by 1. It will also give the same output. Now let's run this. This will also give the same output. So that is 90. So plus plus and minus minus are called as an increment and decrement operators. This comes under the increment or decrement operators. plus plus and minus minus. And this is purely related to Java. And C, C++ also we have these operators. And finally we have an assignment operator. So we already know about this. Assignment operator means we can just assign a value to the variable and then we can use the equal to. There's an assignment operator. Okay. So these are all called operators in Java. So we have seen different type of operators: arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, increment or decrement operators, and then assignment operator. Okay. So guys, are you clear now how we can use these operators? So what are the variables? What are the data types? What are the operators? Okay. So please confirm in the chat window if you're yes. Right. So now I just stop for today here. Now you guys need to start doing assignment from today onwards. So what I can do is whatever topics I have explained today session. So just you guys should install this Java and Eclipse and then try to complete these assignments. Okay, just I'll give you a few assignments. Just hold on. So assignments. So the first, second, and the third one. See now, the first assignment is write a Java program to print hello on screen, then print your name on the separate line. So when I run your program, you will see the output like hello and your name. So it is very simple. So you have to get like this as an output. And the second program, write a Java program to print the sum of two numbers. So let's take two different variables and store these values and add those two values and print as an output. And the third program, write a Java program to swap two numbers. So for example, I have created two variables, a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20. I want to swap these numbers. So swapping means b value will be assigned to the a value will be assigned to the b. So after swap, I want to get values like a is equal to 20 and b is equal to 10. So here we need to apply a small logic. Just think about it, how we can swap these variables. It's very simple. We need to take some temporary variable called c and we need to assign, let me just show you the logic. You can just implement this. So very simple. So a and b, right? So it contains a value, it contains a b. So I want to exchange these values or I can swap these values. Very simple. Let's take a variable called as a c, assign a value to the c. Now what is the c value now? 10. Now let's assign b value to the a. Now what happens? B value to assign to the a. Now what is the current value? A? 10. Now again, so a value assigned to the b, b value assigned to the a. Now assign this a value or c value to the b. Now what happens here? 10 is assigned to the c, so current value of c is 10. B is assigned to the a. What is the b value? 20. So current value of a is 20. Now C assigned to the B. What is the C value? Here 10. So 10 is assigned to the B. Now what is the B value now? 10. So here the values have been swapped. So now A becomes 20, B becomes 10. So you need to apply this logic and try this as a part of assignment. Okay. So that's all for today. So just try to complete this assignment and the Google Drive. What I will do is I will just create a folder for you. I'll give you the write access and you can just copy all your assignments in that particular folder. So let me just show you how to do this. Okay, so this is your Google Drive. So on the day one, and I'll copy all day wise folders, everything. So now here I will create a new folder for you guys. Folder. So I'll just give as assignments. I'll give name as assignments. Okay, just create. And inside the assignment folder, okay, you guys should create your own folders with your name. Okay, so for example, I'm just creating a new folder here for I think Urvashi, right? So I'll just create Urvanshi. Okay, like this you need to just create folders with your name, and I'll give you the right access on this folder. You need to just copy your files. So how to copy your files, I'll show you. Just open up the folder, keep this one side, and you already done these programs, right? So where these programs will be stored in your workspace. Or you can just select all these programs by pressing Control key. You can select all of them. Control C, copy them, and copy them somewhere in your desktop like this. You will get as a text files, right? So then just drag and drop like this. Then automatically these files will be uploaded to your folder. Okay, so as soon as you have completed your assignments, you have to do like this every day. Okay, so guys, are you clear now how to do this? So I'll give you right access in few minutes. You guys can try this later. Okay, for now it is just adding, so I'm just removing this file. So I have just created for Urvashi. Others, please create your own folders. Okay, so that's all for today, and I'll stop it here.